Accountability and Ethics in Governance. Subtopic title: Accountability Definition, Public Office, Public Trust, and Types of Accountability. Accountability is a central problem for governments which are or claim to be democratic. The activities of civil servants or public agencies must follow the will of the people to whom they are ultimately responsible. The publicness of their employment and goals, this prescribes of their behavior and circumscribe their choices. Other meaning. In ethics in governance, accountability refers to the obligation on the part of the public officials to report on the process of public resources and answerability for failing to meet the stated performance objectives. The four core components of accountability as presented in Alnur Ibrahim's article are: transparency, which involves collecting information and making it available and accessible for public scrutiny; answerability or justification, which requires providing clear reasoning for actions and decisions, including those not adopted, so that they may reasonably be questioned; compliance, through the monitoring and evaluation of procedures and outcomes combined with transparency in reporting those findings; and enforcement or sanctions, for short fails in compliance, justification, and transparency. As a result, accountability is not just about compliance with laws or industry standards, but is more deeply connected to organizational purpose and public trust. Four pillars of accountability includes legal, ethical, employment, and professional. Types of accountability. Traditional accountability focuses on the regularity of fiscal transaction and the faithful compliance to legal requirements and administrative policies. Program accountability is concerned with the results of government operations. Accountability is the property of units as well as the individual bureaucrats whose activities together make the effectiveness of a program. Managerial accountability. These programs range from the attempt at work simplification and revision of forms all the way to the systems improvement and agency reorganization. Social accountability. The main inquiry is whether administrative activities inspires general confidence and secure what are widely regarded as desirable social ends. Process accountability. This type of accountability recognizes that some goals may not be measurable directly and surrogates representing how goal-oriented activity might be performed or are used instead. Public offices. Public office is an office created by a constitution or legislative act having a definite tenure or involving the power to carry out some governmental function. Public trust is a concept that relates back to the origins of democratic government and its seminal idea that within the public lies the true power and future of a society. Therefore, whatever trust the public places in its officials must be respected. Thomas Jefferson enunciated the basic principle of public service. Public service is a public trust, requiring you to place loyalty to the Constitution, the laws, and the ethical principles above private gain.
Constitutional principles on accountability of nature of public office. Section 32, Nature of Public Office, states that public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, act with patriotism and justice, and lead modest lives. Section 33. Policy on Change of Citizenship. Public officers and employees owe the state and the Constitution allegiance at all times, and any public officer or employee who seeks to change his citizenship or acquire the status of an immigrant of another country during his tenure shall be dealt with by law. Section 34. Declaration of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth. A public officer or employee shall, upon assumption of office and as often thereafter as may be required by law, submit a declaration under oath of his assets, liabilities, and net worth. Section 35. Ethics in government. All public officers and employees shall be bound by a code of ethics to be promulgated by the Civil Service Commission. Section 33. Inhibition against purchase of property at tax sale. No officer or employee of the government shall purchase directly or indirectly any property sold by the government for the non-payment of any tax, fee, or other public charge. Any such purchase by an officer or employee shall be void. Section 37. Powers incidental of taking of testimony. When authority to take testimony or receive evidence is conferred upon any administrative officer or any non-judicial person, committee, or other body, such authority shall include the power to administer oaths, summon witnesses, and require the production of documents by a subpoena duces tecum. Section 38. Liability of superior offices. A public officer shall not be civilly liable for acts done in the performance of his official duties unless there is a clear showing of bad faith, malice, or gross negligence. Any public officer who without just cause neglects to perform a duty within a period fixed by law or regulation or within a reasonable period of none is fixed shall be liable for damages to private property concerned with prejudice to such other liability as may be prescribed by law. A head of department or a superior officer shall not be civilly liable for the wrongful acts, omissions of duty, negligence, or misfeasance of his subordinates unless he actually authorized by written order the specific act or misconduct complained of. Section 39. Liability of subordinate officers. No subordinate officer or employee shall be civilly liable for acts done by him in good faith in the performance of his duties. However, he shall be liable for willful or negligent acts done by him which are contrary to law, morals, public policy, and good customs, even if he acted under orders or instructions of his superiors. Impeachment. Nature, process, grounds, and who may be impeached. What is impeachment? Impeachment is a constitutional process of removing public servants from office as an assurance against abusive officials in the country. It serves as protection for the states and not to accomplish criminal punishment. The object of impeachment is solely to determine whether not official is still worthy of the trust conferred upon him or her. It is not determination of criminal guilt or innocence as in criminal case. Nature of impeachment. Impeachment is both quasi-judicial and quasi-political. It is not a civil case nor a criminal case. It has been said that the purpose of impeachment is not personal punishment but rather to maintain constitutional government through the removal of unfit official from a position of public trust. Process of impeachment. There are two procedures in impeachment. First is the fast-track procedure. If an impeachment complaint or resolution is filed by at least one-third of all members of the House, the articles of impeachment shall be sent to Senate for trial. Article 2, Section 3, Paragraph 4. Number 2. Longer procedure. Each Congress, the present Congress is the 15th of the Republic, adopts its rules for impeachment for each chamber. The House of Representatives adopts its rules, while the Senate adopts its rules for impeachment trials. The House of Representatives adopts its rules for longer procedure on August 3, 2010. The Senate adopted its impeachment trial rules on March 23, 2011. The longer procedure of impeachment, as set by 1987 Constitution, is as follows. Initiate impeachment through verified complaint filed by any member of the House or a citizen. Include in order of business within 10 session days. Refer to the proper committee within 3 session days. Committee votes. Committee conducts hearing refers to the plenary within 60 days. Plenary votes. House elects its prosecutors. Resolution on articles of impeachment referred to Senate. Senate as plenary body drafts its rules on impeachment. Senate will vote on adoption of rules. Senate issues summons to respondent. Senate convenes as impeachment court. Respondent appears and files answers. Senate receives testimonial and documentary evidence. Senators interpose questions. Submission for voting. Removal from office and/or permanent disqualification. First, treason. Any person who, owing allegiance to the government of the Philippines, not being a foreigner, levies, war against, or it adheres to its enemies by giving them aid or comfort within the Philippines or elsewhere. Article 114, Revised Penal Code. Bribery. Any public officer who shall agree to perform an act constituting a crime in connection with the performance of his official duties in consideration of any officer, promise, gift, or present received by such officer, personally or through the mediation of another. Article 210 to 211. Revised Penal Code. Other high crimes. Offenses which, like treason or bribery, are indictable offenses and are such enormous gravity that they strike at the very life or orderly working of government. According to Bernas J., the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, a commentary, 2003, ED, page 1112. Graft and corruption. A public official found to have acquired, whether in his name or in the name of other persons, an amount of property or money manifestly out of proportion to his salary. Republic Act 3019. Betrayal of public trust. Betrayal of public interest, inexcusable negligence of duty, tyrannical abuse of power, breach of official duty by malfeasance or misfeasance, cronyism, favoritism, etc., to the prejudice of public interest and which tend to bring the office into disrepute. Record of the Constitutional Commission of 1986, page 272. Who may be impeached? President of the Philippines, Vice President of the Philippines, members of the Supreme Court, members of the Commission on Civil Service, members of the Commission on Audit, members of Commissions on Elections, the Ombudsman.
Ombudsman or Sandigan Bayan. What is Sandigan Bayan? The Sandigan Bayan is a special appellate collegial court in the Philippines that has jurisdiction over criminal and civil cases involving graft and corrupt practices and other offenses committed by public officers and employees, including those in the government-owned or government-controlled corporations. What are the functions of Sandigan Bayan? Republic Act 8249, February 5, 1997, further defined the jurisdiction of the Sandigan Bayan, amending for the purpose PD 1606. The Sandigan Bayan tries and decides criminal and civil cases against government officials and employees accused of graft and corruption and similar other offenses. To determine whether the Sandigan Bayan has jurisdiction, lawyers took into two criteria, namely the nature of the offense and the salary grade of the public official. The Sandigan Bayan shall have original exclusive jurisdiction over violation of anti-graft and corrupt practices law, RA 3019, forfeitures of illegally acquired wealth, RA 1379, crimes committed by public officers, namely direct, indirect, and qualified bribery. Other offenses or felonies, whether simple or complex, with other crimes committed in relation to their office by public officials. Civil and criminal cases filed pursuant to and in connection with the Executive Orders 1, to 14 and 14A, issued in 1986 petitions for issuance of writ of mandamus, probation, certiorari, habeas corpus, injunction, and other ancillary writs and processes in aid for its appellate jurisdiction, provided jurisdiction is not exclusive of the Supreme Court. Petitions for quo warranto arising or that may arise in cases filed or that may be filed under Executive Order 1 to 14 and 14. Provided with the accused belongs to the salary grade of 27 or higher, the Sandigan Bayan has jurisdiction over violation of Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards RA 6713, violation of the Plunder Law RA 7080, violation of the Heinous Crime Law RA 7659, violation of anti-money laundering law when committed by a public officer.